back to what Arty Noobs for general disturbance. This is the AMX M4 Mili 49 Liberté. It's a Tier 8 French premium heavy tank. It's located on the southwest spawn of Arctic region under the command of blacky3443. Well, at first impression you say AMX M4 and you think that it might actually be a version of the American M4 or Sherman. In fact, no, it's basically a design, Project 141, a French redesign of the Tiger II. And that's why you can see in the turret, actually, if you look at it, it's basically a Tiger II turret, but the tank is entirely French. Well, I say entirely French. They took their design cues from the Tiger II. It's got a 100mm gun. It's capable of doing 300 alpha and penetrating 232mm of armor with standard rounds, and with the APCR premium it will go through 263. Now this tank only existed in blueprints. It never actually got off the drawing board and eventually was rejected in favour of the AMX 50 project instead, so it never actually saw the light of day. The Liberté version is a design that, well, there was two designs. The one which is the plain clothes version, and of course this one, which basically is the same tank, but just with different dressing. And of course, Wargaming did the same with the Patriot. They made the Patriot and they made the plain clothes T26E5. Oh, this is dangerous. Luckily he was high enough to actually do that. If you go too low, you can actually end up in the drink and drown. And yeah, I think that Tiger I's just finding that out right now. And he's a goner. Absolutely a goner. There's no way he's going to get out of that. Surely not. Oh my gum, I'll eat my words. No, he's gone. I thought I'd eat my words, but I have the feeling he's just clinging on for dear life at this moment. We're not going to watch him anymore because he's more than likely going to die, but anyway, we're more interested in what's going on ahead of us. Okay, so Tiger II, you'd think hide the lower plate, but in actual fact the frontal plate of this tank is very, very strong indeed, incredibly strong. So you don't aim for the lower plate, you aim for the shoulders. If you try to aim for the lower plate, you're wasting your shells. That and the upper plate, they're both incredibly strong. The Tiger just hit the tracks, but look at that. He's got his first kill, he's got a Carnarvon. The Tiger managed to aim for the right spot at last, but he'll return the favour. And he got a low roll with that one, 287. Come on, finish him off. Nope, didn't get it. Just 14 hit points out. But there you go, there's the kill from the Tiger 1. Okay, we've got another one to deal with now. Front plate, yes, the flat plate is easier to penetrate. And now he's got a choice. He can either aim at us or our teammate, and there you go, there's the kill. So he's got his first kill. The design of this tank was actually delayed by the ARL 44 in 1946. They updated the blueprint in 1947 and finally finished it in 1949, and that's why it became the AMX M4 49 Liberté. The Mili 49 says it was designed in 1949, or rather completed the design in 1949. The thing was, originally when they actually started the design, it was a little bit smaller than this, and eventually the design caught up with the size of the Tiger II and just kept getting bigger. Its actual weight is 75 tons. It's a very, very heavy tank, and I think that might have had something to do with why it was rejected. The armour is actually thinner than the Panther in some places. So it's not quite a Tiger II in terms of the armour, but it's still a very strong tank. And of course, most people, when they're fighting one of these, they just get it completely wrong and aim for the wrong spots. They think the lower plate is a weak spot, or the upper plate for that matter, and it's not. It's definitely not. And therefore, obviously, when people start trading shells with a Liberté or the plainclothes version of it, they end up losing out. The one thing about this tank is it does have poor side armor. They had to cheap on the armor somewhere, and they decided to do it on the sides of the tank rather than on the front. That S51 just managed to get a nice hit for 215. I think he hit the front tracks. E75 being baited. Got him in the tracks. Pulling back. Reload time is 9.88 seconds, which I suppose is quite long for a 100mm gun, if you think about it. Oh, he's got hit again. That S51 is really trying, isn't he? I think he must have the stock gun. That's why he's got a fast reload. Yes, the standard reload 9.08, but you can see here that Blacky's managed to get 8.32, which is much quicker. And that's more like it in terms of what you'd expect from a 100mm gun if you want a bit of pressure. The scores are even at the moment, so it's still anyone's battle. Oh, and by the way, this is a 2 replay video. I just thought I ought to put that one in there, because after this one you're going to see a Tiger II replay, so you'll get to compare the two tanks and see how good they really are. Hello. Oh, that was sneaky. He tried to get a shot onto the cupola. Now, the gun does have good penetration, really, and it's reasonably accurate. In many senses, it's like the Tiger II on its accuracy. Oh, yeah, unfortunate that's the 128mm gun. The gun depression is pretty good as well, because it's 10 degrees, and he's trying to get the gun down there. Yes, he does. Puts one into the Scorp. Will he get another one in? I think he might. Hello, Mr. Scorpion. Auto aims on, pumps one in. Go for the ram. You've got more weight than him. He's only a Panther. You're a Tiger II. And go for it. He wants the ram before he wants to kill. He wants to kill him for the ram and then shoot. And there's your kill. And the E75 now, he did get a hit in, and now Blacky's down to his last few hit points. Oh, he blocked that one for the tracks. Now, can he get one in? Trying to go for the cupola. Well, he can't because the gun's up. Go low. Go low. Yes! Nicely done, Blacky. If he can't shoot high, shoot low. Well, now it's better because there's only 2 enemies left. One of them is that S51, but the other one is an AMX CDC. That fast medium, which is actually a tank destroyer in another disguise. Yes, the CDC really was a tank destroyer. Wargaming had mucked that one up. The design was Char de Chateau was a tank destroyer, not a medium tank. That's why it's got light armor. Well, who's going to get the first shot in? Is the CDC going to kill Blacky from range? And will that S51 get one blast to take him out of the game with a splash? He is a splash kill now. He's trying to sneak up, get into the tree line. Just hope he doesn't knock any trees down and give the enemy a hint where he is. Well, he's done the right thing. Park up here, wait for the enemy to come visible. The CDC's probably returned to his cap area, but he's at the back and he can't see us yet. We're close enough that he might be able to, but we didn't get a sixth sense, so maybe he's actually parked on in the wrong place to see us. The T-29's coming up, but he's very slow. Of course, the S51's not going to fire until he actually sees the whites of our eyes, or rather that he actually can spot us. There'd be no point in firing blind. Oh, there's the S51! And there's the CDC. Oh, lovely. He caught him in his side. And now he's caught between the devil and deep blue sea, between a rock and a hard place. And nice one, right through the front of his vehicle. Of course, he's got weak armor, but he has got a good gun. Hopefully he doesn't get a kill shot, and he bounces! And there's the kill shot that wins the game! Well done, Blacky. Nicely done. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was the first ace tanker for blacky3443 in the AMX M4 49 Liberté. You can tell it's the first one because he's got the scrolls underneath. You only get that the first time, and the fact is, what's more amazing is after the 5 perfect, he's actually got his second mark of excellence from this game. So he's been playing it up until now and getting second classes and first classes, but finally he did enough damage in this game to get the ace tanker. And yes, he really did perform well, especially considering he was down to his last few hit points after the encounter with the Scorpion G and that E75. He really did tear him apart, but he got the better of both of them. He also got a fight advantage for getting at least 4 kills. He did get 4 exactly. A shell proof for blocking more damage than the hit points of his own vehicle. Yes, the armor is strong. So long as you keep the front of the enemy, you're strong. Don't expose your weak sides. He also picked up a hunter medal there because he killed 100 enemy vehicles of the feline family. That's any tank which has a panther in it, such as the Panzerkampfwagen 5, which is the Panther, the Panther 2, the Panther M10, Panther MIT 8.8, or Act, the Jagdpanther Spy, or the GW Panther, as well as the VK family, the Panzerkampfwagen 6 Tiger, the Tiger II, I think that's it's the Tiger P, the Panzerkampfwagen 6 Ausführung B, which is Tiger II, Jagdpanther 88, which is with the Pak-43 gun, the Jagd Tiger, the GW Tiger, the GW Tiger P, and the Tiger 131. That's a bit of a mouthful. I probably won't do that again if I have to repeat that on another game. He also got the duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him. Of course, that would be the Scorpion. Was it the Scorpion? No, I don't think it was the Scorpion, but I think it was one of the Tigers that he took down, and also that Tiger 2. And also got a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 5 exactly. He got a Spartan because he ricocheted a shot, or non-penetrating shot, when he had less than 10% of his hit points left. That would have been the E75. And he got a steel wall as well for blocking the most damage in that game. At least 11 hits, over 1,000 hit points, and he did much more than that. His win rate was 11,160, which is Super Unicum standard. Let's go quickly through the team scores and details. When he didn't get the highest damage in the game, actually that went to the TNH T-Viz 51, who actually picked up a high caliber for 5,723 hit points, whereas he got the second highest damage in the game with 4,961. When it came to kills, though, he got the top with 4, but he shared it with the T-54 and the enemy team. They both got 4. 3 kills went to the TNH T-Viz 51, and 2 kills went to the Char Future 4, and nobody else on the team managed to get more than 1 kill, and most got nothing. When it came to base XP, he's got that one as well, so 2 out of 3 in that one. 1,590, which is a pretty strong ace tanker. It's a very high base XP. The second highest was the TNH T-Viz 51, who managed 1,213, and they were the only 2 players who managed to get over 1,000 in that game, so they were the ones putting in most of the effort to win the battle. He fired 21 rounds, got 20 direct hits on the enemy, so good accuracy, 16 penetrations. I think a few of the shots you can understand why they missed, because either they just bounced or they didn't hit the right spot, and that's why they didn't penetrate. So it's understandable. But the 100mm gun has got good pen. It's very poor in alpha compared to the 122s. He also got 1 splash damage as well. 4,961 hit points, all of it done at close range. He received 13 hits from the enemy, 3 of which penetrated, 9 non-penetrations, and 2 hits by way of splash damage from the S51. Yeah, it was the E75 in the end who did the most damage to him, I'm afraid, because, yes, that gun, that 128mm gun, it's the same one as on the Scorpion G. It's quite deadly. 3,080 hit points of damage blocked by armor, 1 enemy vehicle spotted, 6 enemy vehicles damaged, 4 killed, and he earned 144,264 credits for the battle. And after a repair and ammunition resupply, and yes, he did fire some premium, but only just enough to do the job, 61,777 credits profit, 2,385 XP, 239 for being a premium vehicle, and took away 2,624 experience points altogether. So a very good result for blacky3443, and to come out of the battle with such a low amount of hit points. And yes, he did bounce, actually bounced around, not from the E75, he bounced it from the CDC of all things, right at the end of the game, because the CDC, if I remember correctly, also has a 100mm gun. At least I think it might. No, it's a 90mm. That's why. Yeah, he probably aimed it at the wrong spot. But of course, as I said, the frontal armor on the Liberté is actually quite strong. And if you aim for the wrong spot, then of course you will bounce. You won't get it in. As I say, let's have a quick look at the armor, and you'll see what I mean. Okay, this is the frontal profile of the AMX M4 49 Liberté. You can see the armor on the front, 190mm on the upper plate, but it's coming out at about 228, coming up to 230. Lower plate, very strong. Look at that, 120mm, but effectively it's coming out at 314. It's also very low, so if you aim for the lower plate of a Liberté, all you're doing is telling your opponent you don't know where the weak spots are. What you should be aiming at is that. That's the weak spot. 150mm on the shoulders. It is a weak spot, coming up as effective 221, but that's where you can pen. And of course, the other pen spot is right on top of the roof. It's the same as on the Tiger II. It's only 60mm there, might ricochet off, but if you can get it into the cupola, 60mm coming out at effective 60mm. So it should be screaming at you that you either aim for there, or the cupola. Let's have a quick look at the live model. You can see that straight away. In fact, actually, it shows that the shoulders are quite strong, but if you go like that and he angles, you're showing a weak spot there, because now by taking the angling on, you're actually making this a weak spot. So keep your front to the enemy and then you're stronger. But you can see straight away that huge cupola, that's a lovely weak spot to go for. Or if you can actually get it into the roof, but, well, it's showing ricochet, but yeah, it's this tank angled is wrong. But if it's straight on, it's very strong indeed. So it's a good tank to take on the enemy front to front. So if you're going to brawl with somebody and face grapple, this is the tank to do it in, because you don't want to expose that, which is the weak side. Yeah, it's only 55mm along the sides of the vehicle here, coming out at 62. Sides of the turret 120mm, coming out 147. Rear of the vehicle 40mm, and the rear of the turret 60mm. So it's weaker on the sides. They've taken the armor off the sides of the vehicle, put it on the front, and made this an absolute beast from the front. But so long as you don't angle, so long as you keep your front to the enemy and don't let them hit that cupola, then you should be okay. Let's have a quick look at the modules. I mean, this tank screams Tiger II when you look at it in the module format. The fact is, the Germans took the ammo out of the turret, the rear of the turret, the bust of the turret, because they did experience some penetrations in the rear of the turret, which were catastrophic ammo racks, and that's why they stopped putting the shells up there after a while. In fact, I think the Tiger that's actually in the Tank Museum is one of the original ones, or one of the first ones, the prototypes that they actually had, and I believe that's got all the racks in the rear for the ammo. But of course, in the when they actually went into the wild, into battle, they didn't use those ones because, of course, the risk was that it would set off an ammo rack if somebody went for the side of the turret. Of course, that is one of the easiest ways to take out the Tiger II, to actually hit the sides of the turret. But you can see straight away that we've got the driver on the right-hand side, driver's mate on the left-hand side, ammos along the shoulders of the tank. And of course, in this one, it is a weak spot, so of course that can be taken out fairly easy. So you can take out the bustle on the rear. You can see the the gunner's on the right-hand side. The TC is actually on the left-hand side, and the loader is behind the gunner on this one. So I presume he's actually shoveling the shells into the breech and then patting him on the back to say, yep, you're up and ready to go. Radio is behind the TC in this one. There is an ammo rack down deep inside the tank. I think you can see that there. One engine in the back. It's not sandwiched between two fuel tanks on this one. So if you want to get a fuel find, you're actually going to have to aim for the rear of the vehicle The fuel is actually over the top of the transmission with the engine directly behind it. So yes, it's a little more difficult to actually get a fuel fire unless you're deliberately trying to aim a leading shot on a target where it's actually moving and catch it and let the shell drift into either the engine or the fuel tanks. But yes, it's very much easier to actually get a penetration on this one on the side of the tank. Never try to take one of these on from the front, even if you have got a heavy tank, because it's going to be difficult. You saw the fact that he took down an E75 from the front, no problem. So yes, don't face grapple with an AMX M4 49 Liberté. That's the modules. So I promised you a second battle. Let's have a look at it straight away. The second battle is on Mountain Pass. We've got a Tiger II, as I mentioned, and the name of the commander in this one is danijjjel. At least that's what I can read it. I think it is danijjjel. And he sent me in this replay just this morning. And I thought, oh wow, that one will go well with the Liberté. Okay, so the gun in this one is a 105mm, or at least the top gun is. Let's see if he's actually got the top gun. Yep, that's what he's got. The 105mm, capable of doing 360 alpha on this one. Standard reload 9.97 seconds. He's got a reload of 8.74. Penetration with the standard AP is 225, slightly less than the Liberté, and 285 with the APCR. Okay, but he's decided to go down the ice road because he wants a heavy tank encounter. Most of the mediums head in the opposite direction. Now, the Tiger II, his true name is actually the Panzerkampfwagen Tiger, Panzerkampfwagen 6, I should say, Ausrung B, because, of course, for some strange reason, the Germans actually named this the Panzerkampfwagen 6, even though they started designing it after they actually designed the Tiger I, which was the Panzerkampfwagen 6 Ausrung A. It's kind of weird, actually, because it should be the Panzerkampfwagen 7, the 7th design, or Mark 7, but no, they decided that they were going to call it the 6, even though it was basically a completely different design to the original Tiger. It's basically a pantherized version of the Tiger, you could say, with the angled armor at the front, which of course the Tiger I lacked. It's got a much longer turret as well. Now in the model you'll see that they did actually put the shells in the bustle, but of course in reality, as I mentioned, they didn't. They actually had a couple of accidents where tanks were taken out, and so they had to take the shells out of the turret and only use the ones from the store beneath the turret basket. The armor's pretty good though, but there is a weak spot for this tank, and of course you may know where that one is. Right on top of the roof of the tank, you can penetrate and overmatch the armor there. He's being very careful not to give himself a target. Yeah, look at that. Nice bounce. 122mm round bounced off him. He's playing this well. Okay, just poke forward. Yeah. Nicely done. He only had a sliver to work with there on the STG, but he still got it in. He's being very selective about how he hits. And a good one on the Caro as well. He's racking up the damage. 1,500 already. He's blocked the same amount as well. Now, that's a bit of a more problem. That's the IS-6B. It's the black version of the IS-6. You need to wait for him to shoot before you can pull out. But from here, he's doing quite a lot of good. The 90mm gun on the Caro just couldn't pen him there. And he's managed to pull out just when they, in between shots, when they're reloading. Now, will the IS-6B look at him? Well, he tried, but he failed. And you can see there that danijjjel actually did maneuver there at the right moment to throw the shell off. And it worked. In fact, the front of his vehicle is well plastered with missed shots. fact, the only shot that actually did any damage, it looks like it... Is that a kill? A hit? Oh, he did get over hit through the gun. So that's about the only hit that actually worked and caused a critical. The rest of it, well, they kept missing. Somebody did go for the cupola, though, but they just didn't get a pen. Okay. Oh, no, the angle... It's just on the wrong angle on the armor there. Now these guys are pushing forward too far. The Scorp, certainly he really doesn't have the armor to do this. Where danijjjel does have it. That's better. Took a round in the tracks, but that's okay. Now, go for the lower plate or go for the shoulders? Go for the shoulders. Oh, he went for the cupola instead and got an accurate hit. And there's the kill shot from the defender. So, 1,800 hit points now. They're 3 up on the enemy, and they're now threatening the enemy cap area. So there's going to be a lot of enemies worrying and coming back quickly. There's the kill on the STG. That's his first kill. This is very well played. He's had, well, no damage whatsoever. He's blocked all the shots. I would say no damage, but of course that one critical hit that hit the gun didn't actually lose so many hit points. And another kill, this time the Jagdpanther. Now the enemy must be worried now, especially when they see 2 in the cap area. We're not going to stay here though, but that is going to put the worries on the enemy because they're going to think, uh-oh. It's nice that the defender's gone out in front because they'll focus on him, and that leaves danijjjel to actually pick up the shots on the enemy. They must be turning around by now. Surely they must be worried. They're sandwiched. They are the meat in a sandwich, and they are about to get crushed from 2 different directions at the same time. And the first piece of meat that we're actually going to eat is that SU-100M1. Trying to go for the top. Didn't get it, but he can push now. The rest of the team are pushing as well. If he tries to pop out, we can get a shot. He's angling just slightly. Okay, now we've got another problem because that Scorp is lying in ambush, waiting for us to move up so he can take a shot. Decided to take the lead here. Well, the Scorp G is being suicidal. He did go in to try and get a hit, and he's probably received a hit. But that Scorp G is now a goner. In fact, I think he's tunnel visioned, and he's gone, taken out by the T-43. We're going to take out the SU-101, hopefully. Go for it. Yep, that's another kill. 3. Okay, so there's plenty of enemy tanks ahead of us. Ow, the first bit of major damage, and it loses his commander. He went through the cupola, I think. I'm pretty sure it was the cupola. Yes, it was. He got a cupola shot. Okay, he's baiting them. So just expose the front. Let them think that they're okay. Yeah, they're wasting shells now. Nicely done. Goes straight through the T-43. He's out the game. That's the 4th kill. Oh, he's still baiting them. Now, can you get the cupola? He's trying for the ammo box at the moment. No, not going to get that in. He's still using standard AP at the moment. Another nice one. And that's a Centurion 7 that he's baiting. It's 1 tier higher than him. Oh, he got the side of the turret. That was a nice one. He almost gifted that because the Centurion had to turn his turret to face our other guys. And now we're too low for him to get the gun down because we're over the mound. And we're going to focus on the enemy Tiger II first. Try and get that cupola. Either that or the flat front of the vehicle. And another shot bounced. Go for it. Yes! Side of the turret, no problem. He's going to go for the upper plate or the side of the turret. Go for the side of the turret. No, he's going for the lower turret. And that's it. The game's over. And look at all those bounces on the Tiger. Well, that was another fun battle to watch, and it was another ace tanker game by danijjjel in the Tiger II. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. He got a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He actually got 5 in this one, just one short of getting that top gun, and 1/3 of the enemy team. He got a 5 for effect for doing more damage than the hit points for his own vehicle, and he got a shell proof for blocking more damage than the hit points for his own vehicle. But not only that, he also got a steel wall for blocking the most damage in that game. And I'm not surprised, really. He was blocking like a champ. He was angling just the right amount to make them think that they could get a shot in, but then the shell just wasn't going through, and they were definitely trying for the roof of the turret and for the cupola and failing. Well, one of them did manage to get a shot on target. I think it was the Centurion actually got the shot on target and it went through, but that was a very lucky shot. He just put it low enough to actually get through the cupola. But it just goes to show how tough the Tiger II is from the front. Let's have a look at team score. Well, he did get the second highest damage, not the top. The highest damage in the game actually went to the Tiger II on the enemy team with 3,686 hit points, but he didn't get the high caliber medal because he didn't get 20% of the enemy hit pool. Second highest damage actually went to danijjjel. He managed 3,275, and the third highest damage actually went to the KV4 on the enemy team, who got 3,273. So 2 hit points in it there for the placing second place. But when it came to kills, yep, danijjjel got that one with 5 kills in this one. Second place is the Cobra with 4 kills, also the Tiger II on the enemy team and their KV4. And when it came to base XP, danijjjel got that one with 1,330, and 1,088 went to the Cobra, and they were the only 2 players to get over 1,000. That precocious Scorpion G actually managed to get 934 XP, 3,002 hit points, and he actually survived the battle, probably on fairly low hit points at the end though. You don't often see players play the Scorpion G so upfront and personal because they have very thin armor, but that guy was playing it almost like a medium tank, and I've only ever seen one player do that before, and that was Philip Reno, and he almost made a thing out of playing it like a medium tank instead, which was quite funny. Anyway, let's have a look at detail. He fired 23 shots in total, 20 direct hits on the enemy, and 11 penetrations. So not quite as many pens as we saw from Blacky in the Liberté. 2 splash damage as well, 3,275 hit points of damage, all of it done at close range. 16 hits received from the enemy though, and only 1 pen, that cupola shot, and 15 non-penetrations. He really was bossing it when it came to blocking armor. He must have a lot of fun when he plays this one on blocking missions. 3,940 hit points of damage blocked by armor. That's a lot. 9 enemy vehicles damaged, 5 killed, and 681 hit points of damage resistance. He earned 38,848 credits from the battle, 14,568 from personal reserves, and 85,000 for completing a mission. He got 157,840 credits altogether, and after repair, ammunition, respawn, consumables, and I think it was standard ammo throughout on this one. I don't think he touched the premium ammo, which is amazing because you thought he would have gone to the premium when he saw the Centurion 7.1 up there, but he didn't, so he ended up with a profit of 128,676 credits, which is a good total. 1,330 XP, times 2 for the first victory, 998 from personal reserves, and 3,990 from personal missions payout. Took away 8,978 experience points altogether. So the Tiger II and the Liberté are very similar into the fact that they do block armor very efficiently, so long as you handle them correctly. With the Tiger II, you can do that with a slight angling, and that's what you saw danijjjel doing on this battle. With the Liberté and Blacky, you ideally need to keep your front to the enemy, because if you don't, they are going to get an in and they will penetrate you. Let's have a quick look at the armor for the Tiger II, and you can see straight away it does look very, very similar to the AMX M4 49 Liberté. Same sort of layout, and The armor at the front, 160 millimeters, 211 effective. The lower plate is not quite as heavily raked as on the M4 Liberté. You can see that I think it would actually, if it came down a bit further and you raked it back, this is actually a weak spot. You can see it's 100 millimeters, but it's coming out at 177. So if somebody was to use premium ammo or very good penetrating AP, which of course you could do with the Tiger II, you can get through that lower plate. We have got this front plate, which is actually quite strong. You can see it's 245 millimeters, so very difficult to pen that front area. But this area here is actually fairly weak, the top of the turret, and that's what most people are told to aim for. It's only 50 millimeters. In theory, you should be able to overmatch it, but the effective armor is coming out at 107. The cupola, which is what is the major weak spot, is only 155 millimeters. Impacted armor coming out at 158. Sides of the vehicle, well, there's no shoulders on this one, but you can see it's 80 millimeters, slightly thicker than on the Liberté, but of course they stole armor off the Liberté to make it slightly less on weight. You can see it's 80 millimeters all the way down the sides of the vehicle. The sides of the turret, well, at the front it's 120 millimeters, but at the back here it's 80 millimeters. But you can still see it's still very strong. And at the rear of the vehicle, we've got 80 millimeters at the back, coming out 97, 80 at the turret, coming out 82. And the turret roof, well, it's only 40 millimeters, but that's probably going to be more than a few Arty can penetrate. So you might have difficulty penetrating this one because you're getting 53, nearly 60 millimeters on the roof of the turret on that one, and 50 millimeters on the roof of the engine deck. So let's have a quick look at the live model. Right, from the front you can see the turret on this thing is very strong. It's got 8 degrees of gun depression at Tiger II, so it can quite effectively block shells and hit you over a ridge line. It's only really that cupola. If he's actually aiming the gun upwards correctly, it's not really going to affect. Actually, let's put the shell, that's better. And then he's aiming his gun upwards to try and block any shells. Yes, you could protect yourself over a ridge line, but of course then if he aims down at you to shoot at you as you're coming into view, you are going to see a sliver of his cupola and you might be able to aim for it. You can see the lower plate is a weak spot and in fact should be penetrable with most rounds because of course you wouldn't need AP armor piercing to get through. It's a little more different on the Liberté. So let's have a look at the sides. Yes, you can see the sides. You still can pen that with the, this is showing the same 105 millimeter gun. And if we see the rear, yes, you can pen the rear as well. So it is penetrable, preferably from the side, or if you see it from the front, you go for the cupola. Let's have a look at the modules. Again, it's basically like the Liberté. Well, the Liberté is basically like the Tiger II, I should say, really. We've got the driver on the right-hand side, the driver's mate or radio operator on the left-hand side. The transmission is directly in front of them because the vehicle, the drive shaft goes through the center of the vehicle. Just like on the Liberté, you can see the ammo racks are actually in the shoulders of the tank, which makes them vulnerable because it's fairly thin. We've got the gunner on the right-hand side, tank commander on the just behind him, and the loader is on the left-hand side, and it's showing our ammo in the bustle. But of course, as I said, they took it out of the bustle after they had a few instances where Tigers IIs were blown up. At the back, we can see the engine's got multiple fuel tanks around it, 2 either side, sandwiching it. We've got that one at the rear, which you normally see on the Panther, and you see on the Liberté as well, and 2 in the rear of the shoulders as well. So loads of fuel tank targets to actually aim at on the Tiger II. And that's about it. The one thing I would say about the Tiger II is that although they built only 489, they actually, and they built 1,347 Tiger Is. The vast majority of the Tiger IIs actually were destroyed in the factory because the thing was that the air raids actually destroyed the vast majority of the tanks that were actually produced, and Henshaw lost something like 657 of this tank. So there would have been if those tanks hadn't been destroyed, there would have been armadas of these working together, and they would have been very, very brutal for any of the Russians or for the Allies to face, because of course they did see action in Normandy or in the Battle of the Bulge, and there they were very deadly. I hope you enjoyed both those replays. They were very interesting because, of course, two tanks based from the same design, but one that actually did see service and one that didn't. But two great battles by the players concerned, and congratulations to Blacky for getting his second mark of excellence and his first ace tanker. That was very well done indeed. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.